Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here at this webinar, where we'll be covering how to improve medical device design with simulation. My name is Daniel Mazar. I'm Director of Business Operations for Maya in the Americas, and I'll be your host today. Joining me is my colleague, Anthony Lorella. Anthony is a simulation specialist here with Maya, who will be bringing us through the presentation. This event is brought to you jointly by Maya HCT and Siemens Digital Industries Software. Just so you're aware, Maya is a leading engineering solutions provider with over 35 years of experience in solving complex engineering challenges, with presence in the United States, Canada, and the UK. Siemens Digital Industries Software is the leading global provider of digital engineering solutions, ranging all the way from concept design to manufacturing through to utilization. Together, we're enabling companies to have a digital twin of their products with a thread that ties the end-to-end process together to ensure that you can have productivity gains in the product design process. We look forward to sharing about the work we're doing at the leading edge of the medical device industry. From a logistics standpoint, please make sure you note down any questions you may have, and we will address them at the end of this presentation. In case you have any issues in terms of audio or visual, please send me a note, and I will aim to address that as well. To frame our conversation and provide context, we wanted to start with some of the key challenges that we're seeing with customers and impacting the medical device industry. First and foremost, global demographics. So we've been seeing recently in the news the importance and the impact of globalization in medical care. And really one of the things is this idea and the importance and the needs of scalability. What we're seeing is getting products to market quickly through product distribution channels and getting them right the first time is a necessity. Next, and leading on to this, scalability, the scalability we're talking about is in part due to volume and globalization that's impacting, where we're seeing procurement happening in massive ways and really the emphasis of reimbursement on patient outcomes. Essentially what this is driving with providers of medical devices is this importance of customer-centric approach to the technology and the products that are being created. Again, it ties into timeliness as well as the quality of those products for intended tasks, but we need to ensure that there is a link between the quality and customer centricity of product design and that products are working as they are indicated to do so. Lastly, and just on some of these mega trends, what we're seeing is increasing complexity facing the medical device industry. And this idea of needing to have products to market as quickly as possible, faster turnaround times that will lead and enable competitive advantage. And in addition, the immense regulatory changes in the environment that are in place. All of these are impacting medical device providers globally, and particularly in the United States. And so from our perspective in these trends, getting products to market faster within budget and right the first time are essential in being a leader in the industry. So to walk you through what we're doing in that space, Anthony will now talk about how we enable that throughout verification and validation in product design. I'll pass it over to Anthony.
Thank you, Daniel. So to get us started, we're going to begin our session today by considering the traditional V-cycle for product design, which is shown here. The FDA specifies content of design control on the basis of design elements and not on design documents, which is why we're talking about this here. The expectation there is to break user needs down into design inputs, design outputs, and then the commensurate verification or validation testing. Our process here follows this methodology for a submission that mirrors exactly the process expected by regulators. The identification of the need to adopt this new approach for performance engineering in support of a comprehensive digital twin has led us to the creation of a portfolio called SimCenter. SimCenter delivers best-in-class CAE simulation, system simulation, and testing solutions, as well as design exploration and analytics. So these technologies are then managed in a larger PLM context to support the engineering and development of these complex systems. So this is SimCenter overview in general. Coming back to the V cycle now. The process here begins early in the design cycle with concept design and planning. Our main concerns here are user needs and design inputs, and our goals would comprise feasibility and product architecture. The way that we approach this segment is simple with system simulation. While the other solutions are heavily dependent on available geometry, system simulation approaches the design process in a different way. By creating 1D system models based on physical equations, one can create a library of components with validated physical behavior. These models can easily be pieced together into a complete system model, and the physics embedded in the components can be used to calculate how energy will flow from one component to another, and then how this energy is converted into heat, motion, or a chemical reaction. These 1D models can also be used for 3D co-simulation and the validation of control strategies. This is an integrated, scalable system simulation platform which allows engineers to virtually assess and optimize a mechatronic system's performance. It boosts overall system engineering productivity from the early development stages until the final performance validation and controls calibration. Ready-to-use multiphysics libraries combined with application and industry-oriented solutions supported by powerful platform capabilities let system simulation engineers rapidly create models and accurately perform analysis. There's a collaborative solution that allows for the creation of industry-specific applications to drive system simulation models. This helps deploy system simulation throughout an entire company and expanding model usage to all levels of users, and then helping ensure model continuity without changing an internal process. It also provides simulation architects and project engineers with a platform that will help them rapidly create heterogeneous system simulation architectures and then seamlessly evaluate system performance between them. And lastly, the platform also offers a cost-effective, easy-to-use, and zero installation solution. This server-client web-based solution provides access to system simulation results relative to the model thanks to predefined model parameterization. So let's look at a few application examples of system simulation. In the case of Draeger Medical Systems, system simulation was used to validate precise dosage of anesthetic agent under a variety of ventilation or breathing support conditions. Understanding the key drivers here of system sizing, performance, and product quality. So in this case, system simulation supported the sizing of the main components of the respiratory device, and then performance and accuracy of the ventilation, as well as characteristic times of gas exchange. It was also used as a basis for dimensioning of volumes and resistances, and also the consideration of risk situations. In this case, the model had to include gas simulation, mechanical simulation for the piston devices, thermal simulation for heaters, and controls of the ventilation to determine the quantity of aesthetic agent introduced in the system. Going further, in the case of Miele, this was an application of medical instrument cleaning using system simulation. The goal here was to conserve resources and lower development costs while maintaining a high product quality and a reliable product. So in this case, it was useful to have an intuitive, clear, and adaptive work environment with useful and clear documentation and the ability to have quick answers to support questions. Ultimately, the use of a system simulation model here reduced the need for physical prototypes and fostered quality early in the development stage. Moving further through the V cycle, we approach product design and verification. Focus here shifts away from holistic product architecture and towards subsystem requirements in the product development process. At this stage, one is converting the user needs into design outputs. These will inform the detailed product design. SimCenter offers a unified, scalable, open, and extensible environment for 3D CAE, with connections to design, simulation, test, and data management. SimCenter speeds the simulation process by combining best-in-class geometry editing, associative simulation modeling, and multidiscipline solutions embedded with industry expertise. Fast and accurate solvers power structural, acoustic, flow, thermal, motion, and composite analyses, as well as optimization and multiphysics simulation. Available as a standalone simulation environment, it is also available completely integrated with CAD CAE experience. So our next generation 3D CAE solution centralized pre-post for faster CAE processes, quickly editing and updating geometry from any source and seamlessly connecting with data management and CAD. It also features a low-frequency EM solution for the accurate performance and prediction of electromagnetics and electromechanical devices, optimizing design and the analysis of transformers, motors, generators, linear machines, actuators, solenoids, and sensors. In addition, it offers a fast-to-learn and easy-to-use intuitive motor design package that compresses the motor design and analysis workflow. The applications range from electric powertrains to power generation to pumps, fans, and blowers used in all major industries. There is also a design-centric simulation tool offering a single CAD-embedded environment for design and analysis, making CFD analysis plug and play. Its intelligent technology and automation helps reduce the overall simulation time for even complex geometries by as much as 75%, thus enabling fast exploration of the design space and validation of the digital twin. It also democratizes CFD, as is the core of simulation, to offer additional functionality. Finally, SimCenter supports the electronic supply chain with the ability to supply models as library items for other companies to use within their own models. For example, component models to go on boards. Its unique set of capabilities allow it to be used at all packaging levels, from the ideation stage onwards, all the way through to the final design for thermal performance. So here are a couple of specific examples of 3D modeling and simulation that can be utilized for the performance engineering, in this case for the outer case of an infusion pump. First, we look at 3D modal analysis, which simulates vibration and can be used to understand natural frequencies. This can steer the design away from making buzzing or humming noises that might occur if the motor and pump rotations are matching natural frequencies. And here is the second example using impact analysis to simulate dropping the pump and to identify any weak spots. Lastly, in a robotics example, structure integrity is combined with motion analysis. For electromagnetic simulations, we will look at the methodology and simulation results for small, high-speed motors used in CPAP medical devices for sleep apnea treatment. The latest development of compact CPAP and lung ventilation devices powered from batteries require designing small electric motors with low power consumption. Due to the high rotational speed application, the motors are designed to work with high frequency, voltage, and current. In this case, the need for accurate and efficient estimation of such motors in the design stage becomes more important. SimCenter's electromagnetic capabilities allowed motor designers to take into account all types of losses related to the high-frequency application. And in this case, using thermal analysis to develop a better vaccine carrier system. The typical cold box approach process prescribed to transport vaccines is prone to damaging the vaccines before they reach patients. In addition, the rising costs of vaccines, the cost of transporting and sorting vaccines is a barrier to distribution. So the temperature must remain between 2 and 8 degrees until they reach the patient to remain usable. This means that a cold chain of refrigerators and cold boxes has to be set up rigorously and maintained. And so in places where power supplies are unreliable and daily temperatures can soar to 45 degrees, this is particularly problematic in the remote and hard-to-reach areas where many people live. And so in this case, the design uses a single ice pack and storage compartment to keep vaccines from exceeding allowable temperatures. Thermal simulations showed that the vaccines in the carrier design would stay between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius longer, and the cooling pack and cooling unit also stayed cooler for longer. In 2015, the designer won the Belgian James Dyson Award for the device as a solution to a societal problem. Hitachi supplies ultrasound scanner systems and a wide range of probes. In this case, each probe includes piezoelectric transducers and an imaging sensor, which generates heat during the scan. As the performance of probes increases, heat generation is becoming a bigger issue compared to a previous design. So thermal engineers here typically have 2 to 3 weeks to influence the design, so an efficient and accurate analysis is necessary to avoid costly prototyping. Here, SimCenter solutions for thermal flow analysis do this, and Hitachi has invented several patents for their probes in the process. So medical device performance engineering is critical to the design of medical devices, and simulation is playing an ever-increasing role in med device design for various applications, and many of which are listed here. So for optimal inhaler and drug design, one needs to understand the flow behavior in the mouth cavity. So if for powder or liquid inhalers, the main challenge here is to understand actual dosage required to reach the lung branches. So part of the design process is to understand how to vary spray angles, particle size, and distribution, or even the composition of the medication. So here, use of patient-specific scan data helps understand the effects of different anatomies. Here's an example of a simulation result that illustrates the power of CFD for modeling very complex fluid dynamics that occur while breathing in a mist or powder for drug delivery. So here we've captured a user using a VR headset to look down the throat towards the lungs and disperse particles into the predicted flow field. And co-simulation to achieve fluid structure interaction for complex flow-induced large deformations. In this case, we're simulating a heart valve element. But fluid structure interaction is important, particularly because without it, you don't know the loads on your structure, and if you don't know, you'll have to estimate. And estimations often lead to uncertainty and conservative designs, which are heavy and less competitive. So being able to accurately predict fluid structure interaction allows you to design safe, competitive, and lightweight components. SimCenter delivers engineering optimization on top of this, which are techniques that can help you answer design questions by systematically searching for the best design that satisfies certain criteria. We can reduce component weight or find the right combination of parameters to improve product performance through comprehensive topology, geometry, and parameter optimization capabilities. SimCenter offers a powerful design space exploration software package that interfaces with all CAD and commercial CAE tools to drive product innovation across all the industries. Accelerate the engineering design process by automating analysis workflows, maximizing utilization of existing investment in computational hardware, and efficiently exploring solutions and then assessing the performance to ensure that the real-world goals are met. So in this case, we can look at a design which needs to be optimized in the case of the cavitation threshold of this pump and the maximum allowable shear rates. What we need is to understand that a longer lasting cavitation event in the pump can cause both damage to the pump and to the blood. And so sealing problems in rotary pumps can lead to heat generation and thrombus formation. And so we need to look at the design of the pump for combinations of shear stress level and transition time. And so we can use CFD for this as an excellent tool to design blood pumps, perfusion or dialysis pumps, and then evaluate new concepts. But we can further empower this method with design space exploration to look at competing objectives and come up with an improved design. Coming back again to the V cycle, we're looking now at the second half of the process, which deals mainly with the verification and validation. Here, we're visiting our design choices to evaluate system performance and integration of the finished device. So in terms of verification and validation, we're talking here about the evaluation of whether or not a product, service, or system complies with a regulation, requirement, specification, or imposed condition. And by validation, The intent here is the assurance that a product, service, or system meets the needs of the customer and other identified stakeholders. And so the questions we are asking here is, does the product behave as intended, and does it do so within an acceptable margin? And for this, SimCenter offers its suite of testing solutions. Within product engineering, the physical testing plays a crucial role at the start, where it is often used in benchmarking, and also as well at the end, where it's used for prototype testing and final production release. Throughout the process, testing provides crucial input for design parameters, as well as information on boundary conditions for simulation models and reference data to calibrate simulation models. So in our physical testing solutions, we have two families: hardware for data acquisition and software for data analysis. SimCenter's testing solutions integrate multi-physics data acquisition with a suite of data collection, analytics, and modeling software for multidisciplinary test-based performance. It also has a range of multi-physics data acquisition systems to get testing done right in the first time, in the lab, on the track, or in the field. It includes handheld solutions, compact, portable mobile units, and autonomous smart recorders. It works seamlessly together with other software to offer a full suite of testing, analytics, modeling tools for multidisciplinary test-based performance engineering, for vibration, acoustics, and durability. Test engineers use one software to both collect and analyze data. And applications for thermal analysis also exist for two types of inputs: failure statistics and degradation analysis, to combine the tests for power cycling and thermal tests for reliability data and heat flow path changes, for things like general semiconductor thermal measurements or LEDs and thermal interface materials. A highlighted application here is the application of pumps that are used during chemotherapy. The noise level needs to be as low as possible, not to disturb cancer patients and medical staff during the treatments. Our SimCenter-based sound power solutions are used to quantify the noise levels emitted by the pumps. This is a versatile tool that serves different testing needs from the medical industry and can be used to do ISO measurements as a preset recording device or to measure overall vibration levels. The small size of the unit is crucial in this, as well as the possibility to connect to both the software and the test family of software products, or to use it as a standalone recorder. So this brings us to the end of our presentation today. Thank you. I have my information here, and I think we will move it to questions for the remainder of the session.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anthony. That was insightful and provided a lot of different perspective. Just so you're aware, we have two questions right now, and we'll answer those. If you have others that come up, please let us know. We may have another minute to handle it. First question, Anthony. Can system simulation work together with the later solutions that you showcased today?
Yes, so there is an integration between the system simulation solution and other tools. Most prominently, the combination of CFD solutions, which can communicate boundary conditions to and from a system simulation model to better inform the process.
Wonderful, thank you. And the other question we've had so far, how easy is it to import geometry coming from third-party tools?
So for the CAD portion, or the analysis portion therein, coming after that, the importing of externally generated geometry is very simple. It's also able to bring in a more complex geometry without just you're not just importing a dumb model to the system. You're transporting a lot of complexity that comes over from another third-party tool.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that, Anthony. We'll give another minute in case somebody else is typing out a question. But Anthony, if you go to just the previous slide, in case you have follow-up questions, we can ask those. We have one that just came up that's a little more specific. So Anthony, we may need to follow up on this one, but I'll go ahead and ask you. Um, can the solutions we're proposing, can they simulate Eulerian liquid gas vapor media with chemical reaction?
So this is a bit more of an involved question, so I think it merits maybe a more in-depth answer.
Mhm.
That might be something we will come back to.
We're going to take that question from the person presenting it and circle back. I've seen some examples around phase change materials and chemical reaction analyses, but in terms of specifics, we'll get back on that. Thank you for that question. And we have time for about one more in case somebody else had a question or comment. No, I think with that we are good. Everyone, thank you again so much for your time. Just so you're aware, we will be sending you a recording of this webinar so that you can have it in case there's something to reference. In case you have further questions, you can reach out to Anthony on the email being presented here. We will also connect with you to understand if you had more specific questions we weren't able to dive into a bit later. And that answer is actually the last question we received, which was, will the presentation be available for distribution? The answer is yes. So we will make it available. We'll email it to you along with a recording of the webinar. So thank you all for your time. Thank you, Anthony, for that presentation. Wishing you all a great Thursday. Bye now.